This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we talked to a nice lady who wants to move from a big city to a smaller city. It's like City Mouse, Country Mouse, or something like that. It's like the movie Doc Hollywood with Michael J. Fox. When he's a doctor in a big town, he goes to a small town. I think there's nudity in the movie. Anyway, she joins us on the show now. Hello, Sarah with no H.
Hi, Pete.
Did you ever see Doc Hollywood with Michael J. Fox?
I have not.
It's a pretty good movie. I believe there's nudity, which seems really creepy now that we're talking about it. Nicole, is that really creepy?
Why do you keep looking at me when you say the word nudity?
Well, no, because I'm looking... Oh, gosh. This is bad. I think because I was looking for your disapproval.
Oh.
I'm getting red-faced. All right. Sarah, thanks for being on the show, probably for the last time we have a show. So you're moving from a big city. Things are great. You have a housemate, you have a friend, a spouse. What do you got going on?
I have a spouse.
Okay, and you're moving. You got transferred or something? What's the story?
Yeah, moving within the same company to a smaller city.
Is there like a relocation bonus? I always wonder if you get those sorts of things.
I'm actually not sure yet. I'll be talking to somebody about that soon.
Oh my gosh, let's totally just load you down with questions to ask them and leave their head spinning.
Yeah, that would be great.
So your situation, as we look over it, as we share it with those watching at PeteThePlanner.tv, looks pretty darn good. Your household income is $180,000. Your net monthly pay is $8,100. That's of course, your take-home pay. Now, tell me, how a fake name Sarah, of that $180,000, how much is you and how much is Mr. Sarah?
It's about 50-50.
Okay. And then when someone's getting transferred, will the other person be able to keep the same job, or do they have to find a new job?
They'll be keeping the same job as well.
Will your income stay the same?
Yes.
Okay, so that's fantastic because you're in a big city with higher living expenses. You're about to move to a place with much lower living expenses, yet you get to keep the income. That's sort of genius. Did that have anything to do with why you took the gig, or was this like a forceful relocation?
We always planned on living in a smaller city closer to our families, so it was a long-term plan, but the net income is a bonus.
All right, let's Frank, can you pull up the main screen? There we go. You're 28 years old. What's it like talking to an old fella like me? Don't answer that. All right, long-term savings, you have 190,000-ish. Monthly that's a lot for 28. What's happening there? How did that all happen?
Listen to parents when I was setting up my 401k plan initially.
You would think more people would listen.
Right away.
Yeah, people should listen to their parents. They tend to not do that. You're putting about looks like $1,400 a month away or so towards your long-term goals. You have $21,000 in savings, no credit card debt, only $1,000 in student loans. What's the delay here? Are we just gonna wipe those out, or what's happening?
Planning on wiping it out once the house sells.
Oh, okay, so you own a property in your big city?
Correct.
Did you buy it right out of school?
No, we waited. We've only had it for a few years.
And are you going to make money on it?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
We actually don't know yet. It's just gone up for sale now, so we're not sure what we're going to end up with all of the fees at the end.
Did you like Justin Timberlake's shirt in the Super Bowl performance?
Not at all.
So weird, wasn't it?
It was very strange.
I fancy myself a man of fashion, and it looked like he'd just gone hunting and someone had painted the landscape. It was so weird.
It made no sense, especially when suit and tie came on.
Exactly. It's not like hill jack and tie, it's suit and tie.
Yeah.
Let's continue. How much do you think what will the proceeds be of the sale that you'll get to take with you to your smaller town?
Probably 60 to 80,000.
Oh, that's nice. So you're thinking down payment? Like what kind of home do you think you'll buy? Like, what was it? Hold on, let me back up. I'm getting so excited. What will you sell the home for you're living in now? Like, what's the total sale price, you think?
The goal right now is $445,000.
Okay, and your current payment on that is $1,500 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty low. And when you come to the small town, what do you think property? What are you guys thinking about housing expense there?
So that's kind of where my main question comes in.
Okay.
We're looking anything from $350,000 to $450,000. We're not sure if we want to spend the money now and get the house we'll stay in for a really long time, or if we want to stay, on the lower end of the budget, knowing we might sell, when we have kids.
Okay, so help me understand why you wouldn't just get a house that you could have kids in now. Is there still that desire to be cool and live somewhere cool, or is it that, like, hey, why wouldn't you present the case as to why you would not go to your family home now?
I think we want to have the family home, but what you can get in the smaller town for $350,000, you can still get several bedrooms and a decent sized property. But what we might want to eventually live in might be larger,
Okay.
At a higher cost or a higher price point. So my spouse is more interested in doing something where you're paying less and maybe can fix it up a little bit so it appreciates in value. Where I would prefer to just spend the money now and be in something long term.
Do you guys both make really good financial decisions? I'm looking at your situation here, and if I had to make that judgment on paper, I would say, yeah, probably. You guys look like you make pretty good decisions collectively. Is that true, or is one person sort of leading the charge?
He's leading the charge. I'm pretty good, but I'll give him the credit. He leads the charge.
Yeah. So, in situations like these where, if it were up to me, I'd probably do something a little different than what looks like what you're leaning towards. However, I like to give credit where credit is due, and that is that your situation's pretty good because of the decisions you've made. So who am I to question the way you do it? Now, let me give you the perfect world scenario, okay? Perfect world scenario is you could probably afford a little bit more home than what you currently live in. You have a $1,500 payment. I bet you could probably move into a $450,000 to a $500,000 home, potentially.
Okay.
Potentially, and I'd prefer you have a 15-year mortgage to do that. However, it sounds like you're leaning towards a little bit lower than that, put some sweat equity into it, get a 30-year mortgage, use that cash flow to sort of fix it up. But if your life may change in the next 5 years because of family and jobs and these different things, you start to wonder, are you going to want to mess with moving again? Have you guys considered that?
Yes, I have.
And that doesn't bother him?
I think so my biggest concern too is if we actually go for a higher price point that will stay in for longer, we really don't know what the cost of living is going to be once we decide to have children.
Sure.
We want to make sure that, we will have to pay for daycare. We want to save for their college as well. So I think it's kind of the uncertainty of, do we just go with a lower price point and save as much as we can, or do we go with a higher price point knowing we might move, a higher price point and not move, but what if, things cost more than we expect?
There are some other factors here, too, that are not fun to consider. There is the fact that potentially mortgage interest rates are going to continue to rise, or they begin to rise, I should say, over the next few years. So whereas you kind of know what you're dealing with interest rate-wise now, maybe 3 or 4 years. I mean, are you thinking to be in a house for 3 or 4 years, 5 years? Did you say that and I'm not just listening? Like, how many years do you want to be there?
I think my husband's thinking 5 to 10 years.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking 10 plus is my thought.
You know what? The further that number is, if it's closer to 10, I think then you can probably do the middle home as opposed to the final home. I think if you get closer to that 5-year range, you are asking for chaos.
Okay.
I think a lot of times people, and not that this is your starter home, but it's sort of your starter family home is essentially what you're saying, right?
Right.
How will anyone's income be affected? Will you or your husband work less because of a potential child situation? Have you considered this?
We're not planning on it.
Okay. So you would have the cost of daycare, or is the point to move so then like you throw the kid in a drawer over at Aunt Sally's house for free? Like what's that plan?
We would stay in the same city, I think, and then yes, we would be paying for daycare or a nanny or something like that.
Yeah. What's your income like? So you guys are both in the 90-ish range. Do either of you have like huge income potential to like really jack that up, or is it going to stay in the range it's in now?
Since it's not changing, I don't anticipate huge increases for me in the future. I'm not sure about my spouse. I think we're kind of planning on it staying the same, and if there's good news in the future, that's great, but we're not banking on it.
You know, if we look at the long term of like what the impact of you having so much darn money so soon for the future is we have you, and we have your HSA in that number, by the way. But yeah, that's all right. We have your $1 million day as being November 11th. Is that Veterans Day? How's that work? I don't know. So November 11th, 2031, you guys will be millionaires based on your current pace. By the time you're 67, which of course is traditional retirement age, are you and your husband the same age?
Yes.
You will have $8.88 million, which will give you a net monthly income of $20,736 a month. But after inflation, that's going to feel like $7,900 a month. And Sarah, with an H, without an H, I should say, what I know about your situation is if you're at $8,100 a month of income right now, and we think you're going to be at $7,900 a month in income at age 67, your retirement is more or less taken care of as long as you keep doing what you're doing.
Great. So
that's like really good news.
That's awesome.
Now it's time to put together the pieces of your midterm and your short-term life. You've got 21,000 in savings, which you're about to add 60 or so to that with the proceeds of the home, which would give you a lot of flexibility in sort of this next short to midterm decision, this 10-year time frame. Do you guys have the skills to fix up the home, or do you guys just like watch those shows? How's this work?
It's a lot of HGTV.
Yeah.
And hoping. I think we'd have to hire somebody to make the fixes.
We used to watch the HGTV. I wonder when that stops. I think we stopped like 31, 32, and we just realized we didn't have the skills nor taste to pull anything off. But there's this moment where you're like, oh, we could totally do this. Is that where you guys are at like right now?
Yes, that's where he is at.
Does he have
I'm
skills?
at a no.
Can he do stuff?
No, I mean, little things, not cutting, tearing down walls and doing plumbing, right?
Does he own like does he have a saw?
No.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on.
We're not there.
I have a
saw.
But
we live in a small apartment now, so we wouldn't be able to fit that in our place.
Do you guys have within your apartment? Do you have like a co-op fee or something you have to pay on a monthly basis?
Yes.
What's that? How much is that?
$149 a month.
And I think have you ever lived in a smaller town like the place you're going to go to?
Not since we've been adults, as a child, but not since we're on our own.
I think what you're going to have to be careful of is not only finding neighborhoods with like the right homeowners association fee that sort of fits your needs and amenities, but more than anything of like what the resale value of the next home is going to be. Are you at a place where they're still building? Are you at a place where, and this is a weird thing to consider, but it's true. My brother-in-law is an architect, and he talks about this all the time. Certain homes in a certain price range really were never built to last longer than 15 years, which sounds absurd to say that. It's because in order to sell a production model home at the price they sell it for, 3,000 square feet for a few $100,000, the way they do that is they use subpar materials. So if you're getting into a home that's 6 to 10 years old, you plan on selling it in 10 years, you're selling it right at a time that it's falling the hell apart, right? And so that's something totally to consider, because based on the price point you've told me, and you've told me off air in the community of which you go, which I'm familiar with it because I travel that way, I think you could bump into that problem. Have you considered the age of home that you would move into?
We've looked at various different types of homes. Older homes we'd want to probably do more with, since just the styling, the size of ceilings.
Yeah.
And then the newer homes usually look nicer, but yes, you worry about the cheaper materials. So we've considered it, but haven't put a lot of thought into it yet.
I would totally go with like a late 80s, maybe early 90s non-production home in the area that you're considering.
Okay.
As opposed to a newer home. Because here's what happens. You're like, you know what? We could just get a couple-year-old home with this and that. By the time you go to sell it, it's a 12-year-old home, and everything is falling apart. Like right now, as it stands, my home's decent. It's 10 years old. It'll be 11 years old, and literally everything is falling apart. Like everything. And it's not fun. And if we were in a period of time in which we would have to fix it to sell it, because that's the situation you're going to find yourself in, we probably would have made a different housing decision. We're there for the long haul, so we're fixing it to live in it.
Right.
But that's the danger of this middle starter family home that you're up against. And I think people of our generation, and I say that so I can feel 12 years younger, I think we got this thing where we have our starter home, our starter family home, our empty nester home, and then our forever home, right? And it's just like this weird group of homes. And I think the more you can cut out of those just stupid ideas of having 5 homes, the better off you're going to be. But it takes, I mean, maybe it takes renting for 6 months until you get a feel of what's going on here, you know?
Okay.
This is interesting. Yeah, I don't envy the problem you have. You guys have put yourself in a really good position. But I don't want to say there's a lot of risk, but there's a lot of variables in your situation for sure.
Exactly. Right.
I do love the fact that your cost of living is about to come down quite a bit.
Yes, that's what we're excited for before having children. We want to wait, a few years so we have an idea of what the actual income will look like and how far it can go before we, can budget that.
How much so you have $21,967 in savings. What's your account number? No, how long did it take you to get there? Like, how did that money get there? Was it just regular savings? Is that tax refunds? Is that bonuses? Is it an inheritance? What is it?
It's a lot, a lot of just savings through, after college, a little bit to start. But then, we add, X amount every month. So usually we try to add at least $500 a month, if not more, just to that short-term savings amount. We'd like to increase it, but a lot of that money has been going to repairs on our apartment before we've been listing it.
Are you getting a minivan, or are you going to convince yourself that it's not a minivan and get an SUV? Like, what's going to happen when you have kids?
Well, we're planning. So right now we only have one car, so we are going to have to buy another car when we move. So planning on getting a larger SUV.
Okay. Isn't it I was joking at the beginning of the show because I tell jokes, like this city mouse, country mouse sort of thing. But not living in a big city is a completely different lifestyle, even from the footprint of transportation, right? You can get away with one car.
Absolutely.
In Chicago,
Right.
Huh. Well, I love your situation. I mean, to be 28 and to have set yourself up this way, frankly, it doesn't get a whole heck of a lot better of the 28-year-olds that I've come across. I mean, this is really good. Like, I give you a 10 out of 10. That being said, the next 5 years are generally where a lot of mistakes come because...
Yeah, that's what we're worried about.
Are you guys out of your stuff phase yet? I mean, you're about to become homeowners of a bigger home. So something tells me you're just getting into the stuff phase.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it too is, we know we're going to, we have a, 1,200 square foot apartment and, eventually we'll probably be in a 4,000 square foot home. So it's, buying and accumulating and, all of that'll start happening once we move.
Are you going to crate and barrel it out or pottery barn it out? Is that the move, or are you just going to hit up the IKEA? How's that work?
Oh, no. A mix and match, I would think.
Yes.
Maybe a little IKEA, maybe a little crate and barrel.
Yeah. Something
right
old, something new, something borrowed, something blue.
Exactly.
I was at a wedding this past weekend, so that's why I brought that up. No one cares. What else? What else can I answer? I love this. Good job to you and your husband. How old were you when you got married?
25.
Okay. And you both clearly started out on your own. Were you together when you graduated from school or whatever?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
So you have the same sensibility, so that's good. Yeah, this has come together magically. I'm totally into this.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, this is not the way I built my financial life. Because I think, I was a small business owner early on from 24 on, and so you're just investing back in the business. But this isn't too terribly different than mine. But yours is really good. Anything else I can answer? I keep asking that, but I don't shut up and listen. Is there anything else I can answer?
I guess, as you said, there are, opportunities, that we'll be able to, or that we'll have in the future to make mistakes. Any big things that you would recommend as we are, eventually going to be starting a family, wanting to save money for them, wanting to continue to make sure we have enough in our, short-term savings account, et cetera, as we move.
Yeah, here's what I would do. The next time you guys get pay increases, I would not save those pay increases towards retirement. I would save those pay increases
Okay.
towards other areas of your financial need. Short-term savings, midterm savings, college savings. I would not increase your percentage towards retirement at all. I would pretty much stick it at where it's at from a dollar standpoint, because you're going to have an 8.88 million without ever getting another raise if you just keep doing what you're doing. I think the
Okay.
risks for someone who's 28, who doesn't have a family, who doesn't have the family home, who doesn't have the family lifestyle, doesn't have a nanny or daycare or any of those things, all of your risks are of the short-term to mid-term nature because you've already taken care of the long-term. So I think that your short and mid-term require your resources, and those would be your additional resources, not taking away from retirement, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
I think the other two mistakes you can make are lying to yourself about the length of time you're going to be in this next home. If it is not closer to 10, I would just go for the bigger home. If you get into a big stuff run, which I see to young professionals, dinks, double income, no kids, get in these like everything is furnished and it just becomes like your Instagram is just filled with your things. That's a problem, and you're not getting my likes on that. But if you can avoid those things, I like this. Your situation, I have to be honest, every time we do this, we've done a couple hundred of them now, I'm not always interested to see how it turns out in the long run. It doesn't make me callous. It's just like, I don't have enough headspace for that. I actually want to know what the hell happens in your situation 20 years from now. I would love to see this because I think it's going to go really well. Like I have very, very few doubts about this one. And I guess I just want to be right more than anything. It's not even about you. It's about me.
20 years from now, I'll hopefully confirm.
I'll probably be dead.
that.
I'll probably be dead. So is that it? Are we done? Is that it? Are we good?
Yeah, I think we're good. Thank you.
Can you give us updates after you move? I do want to know like what's happened.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I'll reach out.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to email you back. Okay, like let's not let's get crazy here.
Lay
all
out the expectations.
Right. Yes, exactly. All right. Good luck. Don't lie to yourself about the length of time you're going to be in this next home, and if you do that, you'll be okay.
Great. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right, that's it for this week's Pete the Planner Show. As you notice, we stopped calling it the $1 Million Plan, and you're thinking, why? Because someone told us to, and I didn't want to argue because I was tired. It was like a Friday afternoon, and so, hey Nicole, we're recording this on a Tuesday, and we both agree that just based on the weather, and it's just a sort of a funky weather December/February blues, and you're feeling that, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm in like day 2 of my weird funk, and I don't know why.
I'm with you. And on Fridays, we usually clear up the afternoon funk with the treat trolley.
With the treat trolley.
We
did the beer box because it was a little bit more discreet with the baby.
Right, because there's a baby in our office because we're woke and we have bring a baby to work program. So one of our coworkers has a baby and we have beers on Friday. But I feel like the Tuesday treat trolley should be a thing, except for the fact that I think that's a sign that you have a problem.
Or it might just put us asleep. One of the two.
I don't know. I might have to make an executive decision about this. We'll have to check with the other coworkers. All right, that's it for this week's show. Thank you, Nicole.
Hey, thank you.
If you want to be on the show, be on the show, PeteThePlanner.com/podcast. I was going to say something like, we have a lot of exciting news coming up. But anytime anyone says that, it's exciting news for me. Like, you don't care. And you shouldn't care. Care about your own life. That's it. I'm done talking. Show is over.
This is where I came from. Planet Lovetron, where we drop love bombs, funk missiles, and live in soul shelters. No helter-skelter. The heat don't swelter because everybody stays cool. Left many moons ago to bring the philosophies of my ancestors to another place, God. Picked the third rock, gave me to my earth family, and told me to create, and so I am. Pen in my hand, microphone on the stand. Over vinyl, I command and demand. Magnificence in an instance, I can make you dance, cry, or love. Fly as a dove, released from Everest. The fresh is fresh, and you can call me E.T. Word to John Tesh. Let me bless This harmonic presentation, it's amazing, so amazing. I'm the reason. Salutations, I bring you love-tron greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Love-tron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it? The tinkling of the keys is an homage to the little star. I sojourn over poetic descriptions of sound and travel to my other world. Out of this world, spaceship on my arm took me home, fueled by the ink and the megabytes and the hypertext transfer protocol, stronger than the Skynet and the Terminator. I push faders into warp speed, glide with ease, creating a breeze they call a black hole. Event horizon, no rear view concerns. This I adjourn, in beats I burn. This I adjourn, in beats I burn. Salutations, I bring you love-tron greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Love-tron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it?